Hi everybody, I'm Andrea Lorenz from the East Grand Forks Campbell Library, and today I'm going to walk you step by step through making Kumihimo, or Japanese braided cord. If you picked up a kit at the library, you have everything that you need, but if you didn't and you want to follow along at home, you will need a small key ring, or you don't even really need a small key ring, but it works pretty well. You're going to need some yarn or ribbon or embroidery floss. This is embroidery floss, and there are 3 strands of full embroidery floss, and then there is 1 strand of 3 threads, so it's half the thickness. When it is doubled, it becomes 1 full strand. You're also going to need a loom. And so this is the loom that I have made. It is a piece of 5mm foam with cuts. It's made into an octagon with slits on every side. There's also a hole punched into the middle of it. And I used a leather punch, but you can use the scissors. You just need to be able to get the yarn or the thread through the hole. There are professional or more fancy Kamihimo discs that you can get. This is a kit that I bought at Michael's, and you can see that it has more slots. It also came with some thread, which is much thicker than embroidery floss, and bobbins to hold all of the extra thread. So this is the braid that I have made. But you can see that it is very similar with the embroidery floss. It makes a very similar pattern, depending on what colors that you have. All right, so to get started, you want to loop your threads. So what I did here, let me undo it, is you want to fold your threads in half. All right. So they're all in half here, and I have a loop at the end. So I'm going to stick this through my keyring hole, like so, and then pull the ends through that hole, and it's going to secure it to the keyring. Next, I'm going to thread the threads through the hole in my loom, and I'll leave the keyring on the end. All right. If you picked up a kit at the library, your loom will already be threaded, but it isn't difficult to thread your loom. So you're just going to start, and you're going to put 1 thread per slit. Okay, so you can see there I've got 2. Once you get familiar with this way of braiding, you can play around with patterns. So where you start your threads will affect what the pattern ends up looking like in your braid. So I'm gonna put all my colors next to each other. All right, and I should at the end up with 1 empty slot. Okay, I'm going to move my camera around so you can see what I'm doing with my hands, but I'll be right back. All right, are you ready to get braiding? You want to start with the empty slit towards you. We're going to count up to the 3rd thread, 1, 2, 3. We're going to pull that thread out, over, and into the empty slot. Now we're going to turn our disc towards us so that empty slot is facing you again. You're going to pull your thread, the 3rd thread, to the empty slot. And that's it. That's all there is to it. This is a very easy craft, but it's very fun, and you end up with a very beautiful product. So you always are going to turn the disc. You want to turn it in the same direction every time. You're going to take the 3rd thread, pull it down, and turn the disc. It does help to keep a little tension on your braid, so I like to put my finger through through the key ring and kind of pull down gently so that my thread tension is fairly tight. If you don't want to do that, it doesn't quite work for you, what you can do is you can do move a couple of threads, and then go give that a little bit of a tug to help improve the tension. All right, I'm going to keep braiding, and I'll give you a speeded up version so you can see what it looks like, and then we can talk about ending it. Alright, so we've got a pretty good start on my braid here, but it's still going to take me a while to get it as long as I want. But you just have to keep going. It's not that hard, and it's something that is fun to do while you're watching TV, a way to keep your hands busy. You can use Kumihimo braid for lots of different things. It could be used for clothing ties, you could use it for bracelets, like friendship bracelets. Keychains, necklaces, cords for pendants, closures for a box, gift wrap ties, a belt, a headband, a keychain, you name it. You can make almost anything out of this. I really like the idea of using this as a bookmark. I'm sure you're surprised. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Have a great night.